So it was really interesting to me because the more I've done research, which is all I've been doing for the last 4.5 years since, my diagnosis, my illness, and then getting better, I have found so many holes in the system, in the process. And I am not, I want to make it clear, I'm not anti-breast implant. I think that women should have a choice, especially, mastectomy women, and many women even that augment, they may have had birth deformities. So I do believe it should be a choice for women, but I am extremely serious about informed consent.
Amen. Amen. Mm-hmm.
They need to be told. They need to be told, and they need to make an informed decision. They deserve that. And so I will say that the surgeons and doctors that I've spoke with, many of them didn't know.
Right.
They know what they're told by the implant reps that come into their office and buy them lunch and, give them the pamphlets and the things. So as a surgeon, I would not expect any doctor or surgeon to just in their free time browse the FDA website. I don't know any of the doctors that do that because the system is set up that the FDA was created to protect patients, to protect, the population. So when medical devices, drugs, vaccines, anything are approved by the FDA, we trust the process. We trust that the process that was there to protect us is going to work. So where it really gets interesting is when you realize how many holes are in the process. The 510K process, the approval process that the FDA uses for many medical devices, is so flawed. It needs to be done. It needs to be eliminated.
Right.
So many dangerous devices slip through the cracks, and no studies are done because they're grandfathered in through the 510K process. So I'm not anti-innovation either. I mean, we do need medical devices. There are devices out there that are life-saving, like pacemakers, knee and hip replacements can give people their quality of life back.
Right.
But, even as a breast cancer patient, remember that breast implants are an elective device. Nobody needs a breast implant to survive. Like, my mother needs a pacemaker to survive, but no one needs a breast implant. So if women are choosing to get a breast implant, it should be an informed decision, and they should have all the information up front.
Well, even in a procedure that's going to save your life, I think it's important to understand, the information behind it. Robyn, can you talk to us about, because you've been making some huge strides. I know you say for the last 4 years I've been doing research, but let me tell you, you've been doing more than just research in the last 4 years. And I'd like people to understand exactly what it is that you've been up to.
Yeah, so I kind of have used my experience, and my thought process is kind of, how did this happen to me, right? My doctors didn't know. They didn't tell me. How did this happen to me? And I just started thinking, the doctors need to tell the patients. Mine didn't. And if mine didn't, how many other patients aren't being told? And how do we make those doctors tell the patients? I certainly can't go to every doctor's office and every surgeon's office and tell them. So that's where my idea for legislation came about.
Okay.
And if the doctors aren't doing this, we did a survey in a bunch of the BII groups. Over 5,000 women responded, asking them if they received the patient information booklet from the manufacturer. We asked if their doctors told them, about breast implant illness and ALCL. And 84% of women were not given proper informed consent. That's a lot.
Wow.
And so I thought, we need to change this. We really need to change this. And so I have some wonderful advocates here in Arizona, and we got together and had some meetings with some legislators and lawmakers at the state capitol. And we got it done. Our law was just signed by the governor in February of this year. Yeah. So we're excited about that. And we are now currently doing it in other states as well.
Okay. So tell me about, you say we got this law put into legislation. And so what the law is going to require for the informed consent, correct?
Correct. So surgeons already give informed consent for surgery, and typically it's the typical risks that you have with surgery, like excessive bleeding or infection, death. So we wanted to outline what breast implant illness patients feel they weren't told. Okay. And so our legislation requires surgeons to talk about breast implant illness, to talk about anaplastic large cell lymphoma, which is caused by breast implants. We've asked that they're telling their patients how to report adverse events.
Okay.
And what signs and symptoms to look out for. And so what we did is we created a patient checklist that the doctor is to give to the patient and go over with her. And it's very easy to understand. We tried to make it very simple in layman's terms so that it's an easy document to read, but really highlights. Now, it's definitely not everything you need to know, but it's the main points that the patients who were harmed and weren't told what we felt they should know. So
Okay.
you still want to always make sure you read all the consent forms that your doctor gives you for general risks of surgery, as well as the patient information booklet, which our law requires doctors to give that.